Hey, thanks so much for finding the video. Do us a favor. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. And be sure to leave your comment. We love to interact. Enjoy the video. The Saints are back on the practice field Wednesday getting ready for the Tampa Bay Bucs. And of a couple of things of significance with respect to the Saints and their preparation. First is that they made a couple of roster moves. And you can believe what you want, and time will only tell how this will play out. But the Saints have signed kicker Blair Walsh, and they've also signed a new long snapper, John Denny. Now, when asked about this, Sean Payton said, quote, "I don't really feel like trying to kick or hold or snap," as to why he added these specialists. Basically saying they're emergency options. If something were to happen during the week because of COVID and during the playoffs, and if your snapper or any of your specialists were unavailable, now you have a practice squad option that you could activate, and you're not left in a lurch. There's a very obvious, cynical part of this conversation which says, is this really just in case Will Lutz doesn't get rid of his case of the yips? I mean, you're trying to win a Super Bowl, and you got a kicker who right now is a little bit of a head case. I mean, I hate to say it that way. Maybe that's too harsh, but I don't think many people have a strong level of confidence right now in Will Lutz and his ability to go make kicks consistently, as he's shown over the second half of this season. So is this Sean Payton preparing a contingency? But that's a delicate balance when you talk about kickers, man. Like, kickers need to be in the right headspace. I mean, I know this is a college to pro analogy, but man, the stories about Nick Saban and the way he's handled kickers are legendary for why throughout the years so many of them have not performed, because mentally Nick doesn't play nice with those guys. He treats kickers like he would treat defensive linemen. And the way that he will shame them in front of the entire team has led to many kickers not doing great. This year was an outlier. Will Reichard had a really good year for Alabama. Actually, a perfect year. Never missed a kick. So if you're Sean Payton and you're going into an elimination game in the divisional round, do you really want a kicker doubting himself? The flip side of it is, how do you balance a kicker who's doubting himself and needing to provide for a contingency or prepare for a contingency if it plays out that way? Now, Sean Payton, in years past, for what it's worth, has not done this exact thing. He's not signed a kicker to the practice squad during the playoffs as a contingency. But there also hasn't been a COVID year before. But what if a kicker pulls a hamstring, something like that? Who knows? Anyway, believe what you want. Maybe Payton is being truthful here, just preparing for the possibility of if a COVID situation would arise, you have a contingency. It also really feels like the timing coinciding with Will Lutz not kicking well is more than just coincidental. The first injury report of the week is out as well, and it's actually pretty good news for New Orleans. If you haven't heard or seen yet, the Saints injury report is out, and the best news of the day is that Trey Hendrickson practiced on Wednesday. Now, he was limited, but he did practice on Wednesday. So P-Rob, Latavius Murray, Taysom Hill,
Murray, present,
all did not practice on Wednesday. Taysom with the knee, Murray with the quad,
Murray, present,
P-Rob with the hamstring. You would assume that all those guys would be a go. Hendrickson, Jared Cook, Armstead, all limited in practice. But that's a really good sign. I mean, the game within the game is affecting Tom Brady, is generating a pass rush. And the guy who was second in the NFL this year in sacks, a guy who owned Donovan Smith, the Bucs left tackle in two previous matchups, is Trey Hendrickson. And with that neck injury, it was certainly seemed unlikely that he was going to be able to go this week. But being out there on Wednesday in a limited capacity is a really good sign. It was described, when Larry Holder was with us earlier this week, said it was described to him as a stinger that Hendrickson was working through, and clearly he's making progress. If he's able to be out on the field on Sunday, that would be massive for New Orleans. The other thing is it's an omission on that list, but significant, which is that Traequan Smith is not on the injury report. Meaning Traequan Smith would have been a full participant. He need not be listed on that report. So for the Saints, like we talked about going into the wild card round, they were healthy. They were the healthiest they'd been all year last week. And now you potentially could be getting Trey Hendrickson back and Traequan Smith back to add to Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, and emerging Deontay Harris, who was flawless this past week for New Orleans. Listen, I've given Traequan Smith his fair share of criticism over the years, and quite honestly, he's deserved it. I mean, as a guy who was a third-round pick that this franchise had a lot of expectation for, has not quite honestly lived up to it. But if you can add another guy who's not afraid to go over the middle and make tough catches, add that threat and that weapon to this roster, I'm very much for it. And getting Traequan back this week is nothing but a boost offensively for this team. The other storyline, obviously, that everyone's talking about is the Brady Brees element of this, and the fact that both guys have are in their 40s. It'll be the first time in the NFL history where there are two quarterbacks in their 40s playing against one another. And the meme has made its rounds this week with Drew Brees and Tom Brady with the History Channel logo, and both of them aged up with beards and looking very old. But Drew Brees, for his part, when he met with the media today, was asked about all the good fun there with he and Brady and their ages. And here was what Drew Brees had to say about preparing for this game with Tom Brady.
Tom and I have a friendship and a mutual respect. And we were texting back and forth on Monday, just kind of chuckling at this this whole scenario, right? Listen, he's 43. I turned 42 on Friday, so that's 85 years and a lot of football experience that's going to be on the field on Sunday. Listen, when Tom Brady signed with the Bucs, and I knew that he was coming to our division, I envisioned this game. So what was that? 9 months ago, 8 months ago, I envisioned this game happening because I knew our aspirations as a team to be in the playoffs and beyond, and I certainly knew what he was bringing to the Bucs and that talented roster. And so I think this is probably where we all envision being at this point in the season. Tom and I have
so Drew Brees again talking about envisioning this game in the playoffs, which did feel like an inevitability. That both these teams are going to find a way in the playoffs, and you're going to cross paths. We'll see it play out on Sunday in the Dome. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.